his
No,
physique.
I know. But you're so right, Joe. I mean, we can complain, and I think there's a lot of things to fear about the future, and there's a lot of shit that's fucked up right now. But at the same time, it's an amazing time to be alive. And look at the three of us. What we do is sit and chat shit on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's a great life.
Yeah.
It is a great life, and it's also uniquely educational.
Right.
Like, there's so many things that I know that I would have never known. I've never been even interested in knowing. But because I have this opportunity just to be able to talk to people, I've had a total accidental education.
Yeah, and it's also your listeners and your viewers as well are getting that education as well.
Yeah.
Like how many people, like men and women, grow up in a really, poor rural part of America, all over the world, and they don't have access to a quality of education because of, for whatever reason. All of a sudden, they can go online and whatever they're interested, they can find.
Yeah.
If they're interested in astrophysics, they can sit down and listen to one of the greatest astrophysicists in the world explain string theory, whatever it may be, and they have access to that information. Whereas before, forget it. It doesn't matter how talented you were. If you didn't have access to that information, you're done.
Yeah,
you're never going to
done.
realize your talent.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine growing up in the 1950s or when the John Wayne movie was made. Your access to information was so... And people could lie to you. You had no idea. There's no Google. Someone just tells you some crazy story about their past. You have to believe it. I mean, it was so easy, I bet, back then to be like a con man.
Right.
Yeah.
And just trick people into giving you money. I'm actually a prince. And you just have some crazy story and people are like, it's actually a prince.
Yeah.
Think about this. In medieval times, if you were just a normal person, like a peasant or whatever, you probably never leave your village.
Yeah.
You probably never read a book. The sum total of knowledge that you have is the equivalent of like 2 days at school for us.
Yeah.
That's how little information people had.
Yeah, and you're listening to mythology and all superstitions, and you're terrified of everything. There's witch doctors and
Yeah.
who knows? And by the time you're dying, you're just recognizing the hustle. By the time if you're a 40-year-old man, you're just starting to realize, oh, this is I think this thing's rigged.
Yeah.
It takes a long ass time to see how complicated, and then to have so many interactions with people that you realize like how sometimes people don't really say what they think. They kind of say what they're expected to say, and they self-censor. And you see that, and people are like, God, I can't talk to him anymore. And you get an education of human beings that it's based on interactions, and it takes forever. And everyone's so different. We all assume that other people are going to think the way we think, and they just fucking don't. They don't. And if you have this rigid idea of how people should think about things, and you encounter just this wide variety of different ways of thinking about things, it makes you a little more hesitant to cling on to your ideas.
Yeah.
Because I think too many people think of their ideas as a part of them. Like, they're just ideas. You're you, and who you are, the value in you is your ability to not attach to ideas. Ability to look at ideas for what they're, even if you think they're amazing, say why you think they're amazing, but they're not a part of you. So don't argue them like they're a part of you. Let people have differing opinions on them, and then address those differing opinions in a relaxed way. That can be done instead of all this yelly, shouty, childish bullshit that so many people engage in. That just makes people more tribal. It just makes people, and then they fucking dunk on each other and back and forth. It's just dumb. It's a dumb way for smart people to behave.
It's what happens when you let your ego get involved.
Yeah.
When your ego is the most important thing. When you think you are the most important thing as you walk into any room or you participate in any conversation or interaction. And the reality is you're not important. You're important in some ways and to your family and whatever else. But in the grand scheme of things, you just see these people and the outrage and the anger they feel because all of a sudden their sense of self has been challenged.
Yeah.
And they are not mentally or spiritually robust enough to be able to push back on that challenge or to be able to accept that challenge.
Yeah.
And it creates this kind of, you should almost see it like this kind of mini ego death where they just freak out. And you go, we're just having a conversation.
Yeah, freak out over an idea.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier about we have to be able to disagree with each other and criticize other people's ideas and what they say without thinking that it's about the person. You're not attacking the person. You can disagree with someone strongly.
That's what I'm saying about RFK's genes.
We're talking